Hi, I'm Raven.
And I'm Faranir, and this is the podcast where we try to answer the question, can two creatives really break free from the 9-to-5 grind and find success in a more fulfilling creative life?
It's quite a mouthful, isn't it?
It really is. Really should have made that one shorter when we thought of it.
Yes. So first of all, we are 4 weeks late from when we were meant to do. So 4 weeks since the last one, but 2 weeks late. So we were away at Final Fantasy Fanfest. No, Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest in London, and it was the most incredible yet hectic, just overwhelmingly amazing experience I have ever had, and I'm sure you've had as well. From start to finish, it was absolutely incredible.
Magical. Nothing like it.
No. So I was there in full cosplay. We'll insert a picture of my cosplay here somewhere, and you just had your little Makote ears. And we do have some content to edit from that isn't out yet. We've got some photos and videos yet, but it was just it was very surreal. Because we have spent so much of our time playing Final Fantasy, and it's going to be a creative podcast. But a big reason of why we are here doing this now is largely down to us starting to play games together, which the first big one was Final Fantasy XIV. And so for us to go to such a monumental event with so many other like-minded people and meet Yoshi P, and all these other things, it was just a very surreal and heartwarming to be surrounded by such a wonderful and positive community. And when we came back, we were just on such a high from like almost not believing everything had happened, because it was just so breathtakingly wonderful. So big shout out to everyone who put that event together, and everyone we met as well, because it was just best event I've ever been to.
Yeah, for sure.
Truly, I don't think much can top it now.
It was so well organised. All the staff were incredible. All the people we met were just the nicest people.
Yeah, literally start to finish, every single thing about it was perfect and exactly what you want in an event. So many laughs,
so many wholesome moments.
Yeah,
wonderful music. Oh
yes, yeah, we did 3 concerts and a 2-day event in the 3 days, so it was very busy. It's one of the reasons we missed, so that we left the Friday of what we usually would film, and we were gonna try and do it as soon as we came back, but we were just wiped, so we thought we'll just leave it until this time when we can recover and get back on track. It's all well rested now, just about.
That's it. Back to normal life.
Yeah,
and it's been a good time so far.
Yeah. So we've been slowly getting back into the rhythm and routine on things. Because before we left, we had been very, very full on, and we'll talk about that in a minute, about all the things we've been doing. But it had been everyday stuff happening. So yeah, we've been recovering sort of from that, but then with FanFest on top of it. So I think that leads quite nicely into what we were getting up to before we left, doesn't it?
So if you joined us for the last episode, you may remember that we were just on the cusp of hitting affiliate status for Twitch, which we were really excited about. We thought we were like this close, and sure as hell, within 20-30 minutes of finishing recording for the podcast last time, we got the notification to say we did it. So really, really happy with that. It took some work. We loved every minute along the way, but we did put a lot of work into doing it. And that was our first major milestone, so it feels really, really satisfying to have hit that. Yeah,
so what happened was the night before we filmed the podcast, we got told that we'd reached the 3 average viewer mark for, was it 30 days? Is it? Something like that. So we got told that the day before we filmed the podcast, and we thought, well, by 24 hours time, it will have gone through the system and we will have the affiliate, and it hadn't happened, and so we woke up and we're like, it'll be there in the morning. Wasn't there in the morning. Well, okay, maybe it'll be at 12, like that mark. It wasn't there at 12, and we put it off all day filming it, trying to hope that it would happen. So then we finally filmed it quite late in the day. I think it was like 10-11 at night, and it went through within 15-20 minutes to turn the camera off, didn't it? It was
so typical.
So once we breathed afterwards, had a drink, refreshed, and it was like, hey, affiliate. So it was very nice that we finally got it, but it was also waited all day for it, and we kind of planned our day around watching it. So
we were tempted to jump back on and record a little extra bit, but we thought, we're long enough already. We'll wait till next time.
Last week was last week.
4 weeks later, we finally get around to it.
yeah. So technically, we've now been an affiliate for 4 weeks, but we have been kind of on hiatus for 2 weeks of that because we were at FanFest and then in London, and then we had people staying with us. So we kind of had a 2-week break, really. So
it's really bad time. We finally hit it after all that work. And then
we instantly had to go
a whole week because we had to prepare for the FanFest trip, which involved lots of like cosplay things and packing and sorting things out. So we really couldn't stream until that week. I think we got one in. We did
a cosplay stream, but I finished my cosplay quicker than we had anticipated.
Very short one.
For once in cosplay, anyone who does cosplay will know that very rarely does the initial plan that you have work straight away. And so I had an idea, or I was trying to attach the weapons I had to my outfit, and I was like, we're just going to try this, and it worked straight away. And so then what I'd planned to be an hour was about 20 minutes, and I was like, well,
guess we'll just
go play some games. So it was fine, but we managed to kind of do one before we went, and then since we've been back, so we had about a 2-week total hiatus, and then this past week we've done 2 streams since being back. So hopefully do one tomorrow as well, maybe later today, depending on what other people are doing.
That's it. I think this next week is going to be the first week that we finally get into it properly.
Yes.
So we're going to have like a fresh start, like clean break mentality, and just crack in, because we've got a lot to learn now. Now that we've done it, like everything we'd prepared for was getting to that point, and now we've done it. We've opened up a whole can of worms. So we need to look into so many things.
It's kind of funny. We hadn't really looked at what to do once we got it. We were just like, well, we'll just get to affiliate and then it'll be fine. And we didn't think about all the things that came with affiliate. So that's even like filling out the paperwork to become an affiliate. I didn't anticipate that. I knew there'd be like some kind of, like terms and conditions. But there was a surprising amount you had to go through with your tax codes, and I was like, oh, okay, where's my national insurance number? There was loads we had to fill out that we hadn't really planned for. And then there's the actual streaming side of things, of like all the emotes and banners and subscriptions and so much, which we had like kind of gone, oh yeah, we'll figure it out. And now we're here, we're sort of like, yes, we'll have to find, we'll have to figure it out. So, and now, we've got a lot to do on top of editing all the FanFest content as well. But it's fine. It's all enjoyable stuff, so it's absolutely fine.
Yep. Good news is now we get paid for streaming. It's official.
Yes, we've. That's our big, our first. What's it called? Landmark? No. Milestone. That's it. I was like, landmark is not the right word.
Great big landmark.
Yes. But that's our first big milestone that's been reached. And I think. For a while we were like, is that a realistic one to do quite quickly? But we did it within a month, was it?
Smashed it, yeah.
About a month, so.
A month and like 2 days.
A month and 2 days. Wow, I'd just say a month.
Sounds better, doesn't it? Yeah, really happy with that. So now the real work begins. So we had to look into how Twitch's ad revenue platform works.
Yes.
And set all that up. So
how often you run ads and all that.
They give you a lot of options for it, which is nice. Because obviously the more ads you run, the more money you make. But also the more you annoy people, so then they leave, so then they watch fewer ads. So you've got to find the right balance.
Hides in marketing. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I'm sorry.
Do this to people for fun.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So we're trying to find the right balance on that front. And then we need to look into all of our custom emotes and
which
other ways we can reward our subscribers.
We've started our emotes, and it's really funny. I thought that would be the easiest part, but I'm struggling to think of what to make the emotes. Because I want them to be sort of based on us and our hobbies and interests. So far, I've made one which is the meme of the lady yelling at the white cat, but it's me and you, and you're the cat because of being a Makote.
It's perfect.
Once they're done, we'll upload them to social media and stuff, and you can go check them out there. But we've got some ideas, but I don't really understand how you even figure out how many you get, because it's dependent on so many different things, and so there's so much to learn.
So we need to do some real deep dive in this week.
Yes.
Get it all figured out.
Yes.
But we've got some first drafts. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Then we can sneak Joey in there. I think that's the main thing. He's always the main star of the show. So really happy with that.
He's what gets all the views in. As soon as we bring the cat out, it's shoots up straight away. It's like, yeah.
Cat and the dog, boom.
Aww.
Easy wins. So we've had our first few subscribers, which is really nice, seeing as we haven't really started doing anything to reward them yet. So that's really nice, very kind of them. Progress slowed a bit whilst we take a little break, but
we expected that.
We're prepared.
And again, I'll just sort of briefly mention as well the importance in taking a break. We did really hardcore grind streaming before we went to FanFest. We kind of streamed. At one point, I think we did like every day.
We did every day for a while there. It was good.
So yeah, it was very full on. Really, really fun. Very tiring, but it was really enjoyable. But you know, the break was needed and necessary, and I feel like we've been able to come back more revitalized for it, you know.
Definitely.
So it was, you know, though progress slowed a bit, it was absolutely fine slowing progress. And what's horrible is when progress slows and you've not changed anything, but at least it correlated exactly with like us going away. There was still some progress, but just you know, much slower. So it was all fine in the end. Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. We've learned things, we've grown, we've developed, and now we're going to put those actions into place by changing some things with our streams. We're going to work on our overlays a bit. We've already started that. I say Raven. So a big thing is with our streams, our overlays look wonderful. We love them. We love the aesthetic, the vibe. It's just perfect. But the framing was too big, and it made our actual screen space quite small, both for the gameplay and the camera.
Yes.
So we've taken that into account and reworked things.
Yeah, so on a desktop, I would have said it's absolutely fine. And we looked at our analytics, and we did get mainly desktop viewers, which I was quite surprised by. I thought it would be mainly mobile. But I didn't know, you know, do things like streaming from a mobile, like onto Google Chrome or Apple Play or something, does that count as a desktop or a mobile or streaming? Because there wasn't a streaming option, it was just desktop or mobile. So I don't know, but it on a smaller screen it was too condensed and too busy. So yeah, we've totally, so the theme and the colours, the kind of general aesthetic is the same, but we just now have much more space for the actual gameplay and then for us as well. So hopefully going forwards, we haven't actually implemented it yet, but it's in the works. Maybe we can set that up today. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, that's all going very well.
Yeah, happy with that. Making some positive changes. Got a lovely Christmassy overlay ready for December.
Yeah,
That's
and we've got the birthday one for end of this month because my birthday, so we've got a nice cute little birthday one going as well. So yeah, really keen to use those and to see if they make a difference, which I don't know if we'll be able to know clearly enough in the 2 weeks between this time and next time, but it's something that we will know if there is any difference in viewers or engagement or stuff like that, if it seems to be better with the new overlay or worse. It could be worse. It could be worse.
You never know.
It could be worse. Because actually we do get, every time we go for a BRB break, we have a nice little overlay that we put up. And every time we put it up, we get an influx of people. Because it's really cute and adorable. And I think people see the nice colours and they are like, ooh, this.
People in.
Yeah.
It's just a lovely big image that says "Be right back." We're not here.
It's got a nice sunset. It's got a nice sunset. It's got a little frog and a little lily pad, and everyone just jumps on it every single time.
We just need to flash it on every 5 minutes, just for a moment, just to see if it lures people in.
It'll be like our own ad break. We'll have the ad every so often, and then we'll have the BRB screen timed through it.
So fun.
So yeah, that's all very exciting, and I like doing graphic designs. That's always very good.
Excuse, isn't it? Nice.
But to date the video, it is the 11th of November today, and very sadly, yesterday, day before, the 9th maybe, our good old friend Omegle has died. It has been closed. It had some lawsuit issue. We won't go into what's really happened, because to be honest, we don't fully know. But the short of it is that Omegle has been taken down. It no longer exists. You can go to the website and there's just a little gravestone.
It's so sad.
It's very, very sad.
I'm still shaken by this news.
It's very sad. So that, you might be thinking, why does Omegle come into a podcast about being creative and Twitch and all that sort of stuff? We were using an Omegle bot to drive traffic to Twitch, which some people found questionable, but we found very reliable and helpful. Mm-hmm. And that avenue is very quickly being cut off. So thankfully, it was there for us racing to affiliate, so it's kind of done the main legwork.
It got us there.
It worked, but now it's really signified the importance of not putting all of our eggs into one basket per se, because we now have to put more effort into the other channels. So what was really helpful about Omegle was that we could have it running 24/7. It didn't matter if we were at work, if we were streaming, doing house chores, having a shower, we could have the spot running all the time. And that was really helpful because it allowed us to have more time to recover, to edit streams, to edit content, to edit the overlays, to work, just to exist. And we weren't spending all of our time on marketing. And that was something that was important to both of us, which I quite stressed because I work in marketing, that it's why marketing exists, because it drains so much time, so much of our resources. So yeah, it was really, really helpful, and it's now dead, which is very, very sad, but it does mean that we can just put more time into other things, and we're going to have to try and figure out the next best tactic. So we'll also, we'll keep you up to date on that as well. We've got a few ideas, a few things that we can do that we had as sort of things we were meaning to start that we just hadn't had the push to do so, and there is no greater push than Omegle literally being taken down. So now we are forced to actually go and do kind of manual organic marketing.
Do the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and it'll be for at least now predominantly organic marketing. I don't know if we'll go into paid. Maybe at some point we will. I don't know. But yeah, that was. It was a.
We never could have seen that coming.
Yeah. It was a twist and turn, which we'd kind of tried to soften and bubble wrap as many things as we could to troubleshoot them, but Omegle dying was not one of them. So it kind of was. You were at work at the time, wasn't you? And I sent you the screenshot and a voice note of going no.
I think on the last episode I gave a projection of what our followers would be within a year.
But that's using Omegle.
But that's gone now. That's gone.
That was using Omegle, yeah. But
so we reconfigure, we restart. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It has been a big hit. We're not going to lie about that. It has taken. It's going to be hard to recover that loss, but we have options, we have avenues, and we will keep you up to date on what we do. And also, if anyone listening to this has any ideas or suggestions on where they think is best or what's been successful, we're also very open to hearing that as well. Open to any ideas, because I work in marketing, but I've not done marketing for like streaming content. It's been more services and products and stuff, so it's a different kind of thing. Yeah.
So if you have any advice, drop it in the comments below.
Yes,
if you're listening on just a podcast through Spotify or something, then you can just drop a comment on our YouTube video, because this will also be on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So feel free to hop on over and just leave us any tips or tricks you may think of. Oh dear.
At some point we should open an email for...
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
That's it.
That'll be handy.
Direct communication avenue. There we go. We'll have that set up for next time.
Yeah, we'll have that for next time. And if we do have it set up for the time we release this, we'll put it in the footnotes and description of this, and then you can just use that. But if it hasn't, just know that it's because we're editing Fanfest content, and we're very sorry, and we'll sort it for next time.
No time. Oh dear. And that takes us to our next point, I believe. So last time I made a note that I would run through some of the technical issues we've had so far, some of the things we've done horribly wrong, and how you can avoid doing those things, which is one thing we really want to make a point of doing with this. We make mistakes, so you don't have to. So this will all be referring to OBS for the most part. If it's anything else, I'll let you know. But primarily, double check all of your settings thoroughly. So in the settings mode section of OBS, there is so many things you can sift through. And you may think some of it's not appropriate, but there'll be little things in there that catch you out. And they will affect your stream, and you won't even notice. So I would highly recommend just clicking through all of them again and again until you've got your head around them all. Some of it will just be pure technical jargon, and by all means have a little Google, see if it's relevant to you or not.
Yeah, we do have this screen open in front of us now, and I am looking at it, and and I recognise a few words there, but some of that is different language.
Yeah, like I'm quite savvy with a lot of this stuff, and to me it's still some gibberish.
Yeah, and I think actually that's a really good point to make, that often, I know at least I do this, is that if I see that there's the jargon, I just go, I know the key buzzwords for things to look out for. If they're not there, it's not relevant. But actually, if you don't know it, and you don't know what it's doing, you don't know what it's controlling, that probably actually means more so that you need to look into it. And that's what we found, is that we were like, yeah, all the things that we knew about, that was all sorted, but there was things that we hadn't had to learn and know about before that we just scrolled straight past, and actually were really big, important things. So do just have a little quick, have a tab open and just Google them, and make a note of what these things are, and then so if things do go wrong or you need to fix stuff, you can go, aha, I read about that when I first started setting up OBS.
It's so worth it, because I had a look through some various little starter guides and stuff on how to set things up when I got going, and a lot of these things were never mentioned. Like, they talked about the most basic, visual things purely, just to set up your scenes and everything. But they didn't go into the technical bits at all, and I think that really hurt us for our first few streams, because things weren't right, and we didn't even know they weren't right.
No.
So I'll just talk about some of the biggest mistakes so far. So, first off, the base canvas resolution. Now, you can see that in the video section of the settings, and this one really threw me off, because all of my inputs were 1080p Full HD. Across every single aspect that you can affect through the scenes and the sources. It was all 1080p. But then I realised the base canvas resolution was actually 720p. Now, this is a little thing that's tucked away in a menu that you probably may not even look at, but it's automatically downscaling all of your footage without you even knowing.
It is like a menu in a menu, isn't it?
Yeah.
So everywhere where you could see 1080 said 1080, or the design, or the camera, or the stream, everything you could have a control over said 1080. And it's only when we watched the stream back we were like, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look 1080.
Yeah.
And that's when we found this little side menu.
So then I changed that one, and boom, everything fine.
Wonderful.
So that is top tip number 1.
Yes.
Base canvas resolution in the video settings. Make sure that is matching your source outputs. Next up, bitrate and encoding. Now, that one, again, I didn't see that talked about anywhere, and that drove me crazy when I realised that was a thing, because we could have improved it so much quicker. So if you go to the output settings in OBS and you look underneath encoder settings, there's a lot of things there that are honestly far too technical for me to talk about. But the main thing I'm going to drop on is the bitrate. So what you should set that to will be largely dependent on your internet speed, so you have to do some research to see which number to change. But mine, I think, started on a default of 2500, which was pretty tiny. Like, our internet can do way better than that, and that was another reason why, when we looked back at some of our streams, they were actually quite low resolution and quite jumpy, very low quality in ways that they shouldn't have been, because all of our process and hardware up to that point are flawless. They're fine. So it's very frustrating that one little number made things low quality with no warning, because loads of guides do not mention that. So that's top tip number 2. Secondary to that, under the same section, so you're under output, if you change that across to audio, you'll see more bitrate settings. So each of your audio tracks, so on here I've got, I can't scroll because I'm streaming, I think 6 tracks of audio, and the audio bitrate for that I think started at default at 192, which is again quite low. So change that to 320 across all your channels. You'll be much better off. You'll be sounding crystal clear in no time. Why it's so low by default, we will never know, but change it, you will thank me for it.
Before you continue,
Yes.
because I definitely know, but just for the few who don't know, can you briefly summarize what bitrate actually means?
Put me on the spot, why don't you?
Just you haven't got to be technical, but just what is it?
It's basically the amount of data that is put into your file. So the higher it is, the more detail you have. So it's mostly demonstrated as like a curve. So if you have really high bitrate, it's nice smooth curve because it's got all these points of detail. If it's really low quality, it will be more like in little stairs because it's lower points of quality and detail to it. So if you see it visually, that's how it will look. So higher is always better, but obviously if you go too high and your internet can't cope with that, you may end up in a worse position. So just look at how high you want it based on how fast your internet is. A quick bit of research on Google will get you in the right spot. I think 4,000 upwards is probably a good starting point, but double check your own broadband settings. So yep.
You should do a little video on how to set this up.
I think I might do.
I honestly think you should. I think it'd be really helpful because as you'd already mentioned, we did try and look up as much as we could to see what people already said about it. And some stuff was really helpful, but there was so much that was really vague, really overcomplicated. And it was one of those things, kind of like recipes where they write a blog before they tell you just the answer. And it'd be like, this is how I got to this moment in time. And it just was like, can you just tell me where this tool is, Exactly. I don't need to know your entire education since the first school club you went to. It's very much that thing. So we did have a really hard time just finding support and advice and just any information on everything that we've done to do streaming. So maybe if we did a video tutorial on that sort of thing.
Do that. Gives you something to do this week.
Yeah, it'd be really good. I think it'd be really helpful because, or at least you know more than I know, and so it could probably help another little me out there who's twiddling their thumbs, not knowing what to do.
It'll get people in a good starting point.
I mean that's the thing as well. At least once you have that foundation, basic understanding, you then know what you need to look for to progress further. But if you don't even know how to get your foot in the door, it's sort of like, what am I looking at? What am I doing? What do I need? It's really hard to kind of suss out where to go next.
Absolutely. I will come back to that with a full video, but I'll still run through some little tips and tricks here. I've got a couple left. So audio channels. So obviously we just talked about affecting the quality of your audio channels, but even more basic than that is where do your tracks go? So as I'm an audio engineer, this is second nature to me anyway. I can get my head around that stuff, no problem.
Not
but
second
even
nature.
I screwed it up, and this one really annoyed me. Even I screwed it up. We did a stream a few weeks back where some of our viewers said, hey, we can hear the game but we can't hear you, and I was like, well, everything's lit up fine on my end. I can see all the audio going through the
is this what was wrong? I didn't know. You fixed it very quickly, but I
did. I had a hunch.
I just left it alone. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Earlier that day I'd tidied things up and made things more efficient, and we all know how well that goes, don't we? So I'd made a pretty huge mistake while doing that, and that was in setting up where my audio tracks go. So obviously we're doing two things. We're recording streams and we're just live streaming. And what I wanted was to affect where the recorded audio channels go. So I wanted separate tracks for, let's say, the actual game sounds, for one microphone, for two microphone, and then let's say Discord chat and effects from Twitch and stuff, like notifications, that sort of stuff. So 6 channels. So I had all of these sources spread across these 6 channels. What I forgot to factor in is that by default, OBS only streams channel 1. So I had tidied it so that our voice chat doesn't go to channel 1, it only comes through on channel 2. Which is great for recording, but it screwed us completely up for streaming. That's why no one could hear us. So I was frantically rushing around, unplugging things, plugging things back in, double checking, and then I remembered, I changed that. And I had a little heart attack, and I just unticked that one little box, put it back in, it was fine. So, lesson learnt, don't be like me, just go through and make sure all of your tracks are going where you want them. But for when you're streaming, always have everything going through track number 1. So I have all the things we need going through track 1. So when streaming, everyone will hear everything. But at the same time, I have all of our game sounds going to channel 2, all of our voices to channel 3, etc. So I still have those separate channels for editing afterwards, but for streaming, everyone still hears everything on one altogether.
It's sort of like cables and the rubber casing you get, isn't it? It's like you can have lots of different wires in a cable, but it has that one piece of rubber around it, so that when you plug your charger in, it's all together in one, but actually inside there's lots of different things. Yeah. And I will just quickly say, just because I'm looking at it, the fact that where it says status and it says active, the fact that active is in red is really messing with my brain, because I feel like it should be green, like good and go, and it's working and on. Yeah, but red, I'm like, oh, is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. It says active, but it's red.
We'll find out when we go to edit, I suppose.
There we go, yeah, we'll know.
If there's no sound, it's not good.
Is it a good active or a bad active? But yeah, when you open that, it jarred me, because I saw lots of red, and then I was like, but it says active. That sounds good.
It should be good.
Yeah, just a funny little note there.
And the last issue, I would say very important to start off early with, and I'm sure you'll agree because you're in the same line of work on some of this, managing the amount of content you have with proper file structures from the start. Now, when I say this, I mean things like proper naming conventions for all of your files, so that you know what they are exactly from a glance, you know what they are, and you can search for them.
Yes.
That's essential. And also having everything organised in a way that you understand and will make things easy to find. Because there is nothing worse than losing your files. You can't find it. You're looking for this one image you need to put into your stream or your video, and you can't find it. You can't search for it because you've named it wrong. It's a disaster.
We all know, and we're all guilty of doing the thing where you need to save something quickly and you just go, and you save it to desktop and you use it quickly, you send the meme to a friend and you never look at it again. That's fine for memes, but when it comes to overlays and banners and emotes and, you know, all the different things and slides and like BRBs and starting stream, you know, everything like that, you have to name it properly and have a system. And that hasn't got to be defined. You know, what works for us might not be good for you. I know that in my day job, the word header, banner and title all kind of get entwined, and cover photo as well. So often when I save a header image for an email, I will put website header, email header, like I'll put all the kind of keywords into one thing, so that I know that Tired Me tomorrow, I won't have to go, did I call it banner, did I call it header? It will just be included, you know. So if that's what works for you, then absolutely do that, but make sure that you have a system that works for you and stick to it and have everything matching, so that all your overlays have the word overlay in it, all the main ones have the word main in it, and all the starting screens have starting screen in the title, because there is nothing worse than trying to be organised and be creative and you're spending your time trying to go, did I put it in photos, or was it downloads, or was it on my desktop, you know, and it just overcomplicates things. So it does take a bit more time, but it is such a time saver in the long run. And also if you do God forbid, have a hard drive damaged or computer damaged, if you do have to go and have stuff tried to be recovered, you do need to tell the person recovering it what you're actually looking for. And so if you've called everything a jibba jibba, they're not going to be able to find it. You've got to say, I need the folder called Twitch overlays, you know. So it's also for kind of safety and backup as well to have a system.
Definitely. So start straight away. You may only have 2 files when you start, but start as you need to go on, because as you go on, you may realise months into it that you want to totally move everything and rearrange it to how it would make sense. But then once you do that, none of your software will be able to find your files because you've moved them all. And then you've got to relocate everything. And every time you open an old project or something, it will ask you to find that old file again because you've moved it and it's not where you left it.
Yeah, I think
that is hard work.
A good way to summarize this, if you have got any design experience, if you have used InDesign, you will know that anytime that you make anything in InDesign, you have to do a thing called packaging. And basically that package is a little tab which has all the elements that you used in it. So normally when you mix things in InDesign, it will, if you put a photo in, it will say this photo has come from a desktop, this one has come from your downloads, this one has come from a hard drive, and it keeps that mapping, which is fine. But as soon as you move those images, it goes, well, you said it was in downloads, but it's not there anymore. So that's what packaging is. It kind of saves the actual file rather than the location of the file. And this is quite a similar thing where it is saving the location of that item, not just the item. It's mapped out the route on how to get there. So if you rearrange it all, it's going to get halfway there and go, you've moved everything, what are you doing? And so then, yeah, you have to kind of start over, and it's very complicated and very time consuming. So definitely have a system.
Start as you mean to go on.
Yes, definitely.
There are plenty of good examples of like strong file structures online. Just have a little look. It's so worth it. Different structures work well for different people, so I'm not really going to tell you what we do because it may not apply to you. Just know that you should look into it. Start now. Start right now. Do it.
Yeah, I've got to say it was a very lovely thing for me when we started dating and we got this computer, because I'm very strict with my file naming because of me being a graphic designer. I just have to be, especially when I've got different clients and stuff. It can't all be in one folder. And I was using your computer then to do some design work, and everything was beautifully labelled and laid out, and I had my own place and you had all your own things, and it was all just beautifully done, and it made things so much easier. And I do clutter the desktop, I must admit.
Yeah, you are terrible for that. Do you know what's worse than cluttering it though? I have my stuff nice and neatly organised on the desktop, right? We're going to get personal now. I have it nice and neatly organised. I have all my audio stuff on one little bar here, and all my photography stuff in one little section here. Raven here will come along and click this little thing where it moves everything on the desktop all the way over here in one spot. In a mess. Just a pile of files a mile long. And I'm like, where's all my stuff gone?
It's the whole, on a desktop right-click sort. I love that because it puts the recycling bin in the top left corner, and then it goes all your applications, and then it does your Word documents and your Excel documents, and then it does your Adobe files, and then the image, it sorts it in that order, right?
And all of my audio software.
But I do it by such habit on my work computer that I then go to use your computer, and I'll tidy my things up. I won't leave things on the desktop because I'm very good at it now, and I'll go, oh, all done, I'll just press sort and it'll go back to how it was. And then I realise that I move all of your things with it, and then you open the computer a day later and you're like, where's my thing? You don't really get mad, but you kind of look at me like, did you tidy the computer up? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. But everything else, like all your hard drives are very, very neat and tidy and organised. But it does make an absolutely huge difference. So I'd say that is the big takeaway from today. In my opinion, that's my most important thing.
Definitely.
Tidy your files up and make sure you have a system, because it will save you so much stress and time in the future.
You will thank us.
Yes.
You will. You will send us personal emails saying, thank you so much. It was the best advice I ever had. I can just see it. So that covers that. I will work on a YouTube video with more guidance for you.
I think that'd be really good. Yeah.
But for now, those are my top tips for the day. Learn from our mistakes and don't do the same things.
Yep.
So, with that out of the way, I'm going to ask you a question. What's been the highlight of your fortnight?
The highlight of my fortnight, technically, it's the highlight of my month, because we're in month one. But I've got to say, even though it was more than a fortnight ago, I'm still riding on the high of Fanfest. And a big highlight for me, which hopefully we'll have results from next time, is I entered the Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest London. They should really get a better name for it. Art and video contest. And I entered 2 pieces of my artwork. I did 2 paintings, and we're going to do arty streams in the future, so do keep an eye out for that. But I did 2 of my paintings, and I entered my cosplay, which you had photographed at May MCM Comic Con. And the only reason I entered was because I had the paintings done and I had the images edited, and I thought, well, I've got stuff, I may as well enter it. Like, it would have been silly not to, because I had it all. And so I didn't expect it to do well at all. And then my friend sent me a link just saying, oh, look at like the really good entries. And I was a finalist. I kind of had to, thank you. I had to kind of scroll up and down and go, that's my face. So the one that became a finalist was my cosplay in the physical handcrafted area of the art competition. And we can insert again a picture of my cosplay. Okay. We found it at FanFest. They had it on a big display board, my little outfit and the ears that I'd built. And so it was very, very surreal to see my artwork there as well, like something I had created. Really cool. And I had a lot of doubt in making it because I hadn't done proper cosplay before like that. I'd bought outfits online, but I'd never really built things. And I hadn't entered an art competition for 10 years. So for the first one for me to enter again, for me to be a finalist on for Final Fantasy was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And I was on Square Enix's social media.
Yeah, you were. That was really cool.
It was on their social media,
and
it was very special because Square Enix has so much significance to you, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. And also my brother, who got me into games, into Final Fantasy, all that sort of thing. He has been a very, very, very long fan of everything that Square Enix does. So even just to be on their social media in their Final Fantasy video of the cosplays and stuff was just very like heartwarming and lovely to be kind of a part of the community and all that sort of thing. So hopefully, they said they'll announce the winners by the beginning of November, and it's now the 11th.
Yeah, actually they're taking the time.
So I did look last night, I did refresh it, but they haven't announced it yet. So hopefully by next time we'll know if I won anything. But honestly, I'm taking it as a win anyway, that I even became a finalist. And one of our favourite artists was also in there in the illustration section. So I felt very honoured to be within even the same competition as her, because we both love her artwork. Yeah, so
lovely human being.
Yeah, that was a real big peak for me. And so even if I don't win or anything, I really don't care, because I'm just so happy that I even could take part in it, honestly, and have my work seen by other people. So very, very lovely, very happy.
Nailed it. I'm really happy for you.
What about yours? What was your highlight of the fortnight?
The
4 weeks.
Obviously, it's going to be what happened at the same event, because it was just so magical.
It's going to be our highlight for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
For the next year. Hopefully, we'll change it once we get married. It'd be awful if we're both saying Final Fantasy was the best thing. Yeah, so hopefully by 2025 we'll be saying our wedding. But
fingers crossed.
We'll try and combine the next two events. How about?
I think my favourite part of it was having Hironobu Sakaguchi in attendance.
The man, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend. He is the man that created Final Fantasy in the first place, back in the 80s.
Icon.
He directed the first few games. He was a producer after that. Up until I think the 10th one. I think he left sometime after that, if I remember rightly. And he was there. Like, they invited him. He's got on board playing 14. And he loves it. He's like the biggest fan there. It was amazing. But just having him there was so special.
He was like a super fan there. Like he'd done the relic weapons. Yeah. Like, because he said that he'd started playing it because he got asked to go to do FanFest, and he sort of thought, I better actually kind of know what I'm talking about. And he's just absolutely fallen in love with it. Yeah. And so much so that he said he doesn't want to collab with them because he's so involved as a player. He doesn't want to know what's happening. So that was really wholesome. So wholesome. I was I didn't know that he would be such a huge fan, which made it so much nicer. I was like, he's one of us.
It was so special having him be there.
Yeah.
And he just brought so much humour to it, and so much really cool knowledge that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
About the Onion Knights.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's still going to be my favourite fact. Yeah.
The way he dropped the Tank Buster on Yoshi P. So just in case you don't know, Yoshi P is like the producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV. And they were doing a section where they were both playing the game with other players online. Mm-hmm. And Hironobu decided to drop a Tank Buster, which is an attack just for tanks, because it will nuke anyone else, kill them straight away. Only
instant
tanks
death
can take it.
if it's anyone else.
And Hironobu decided to chase Yoshi P and drop it on him and kill him in front of thousands of live viewers.
Thousands.
Absolutely hilarious. brought us all to stitches. It was just a hilarious moment.
Yeah, he brought just such a lovely joy and warmth to the event, and I have to, because they had what was it, like the background artist, and then what was the other one? There's like another
technical artist.
That was it. They had both of those guys there. I can't remember their name, sorry. But both of them just had such a positive, warm energy, and so lovely and so passionate, and it made me enjoy it more, because you could see they really loved what they did. Like, it was a craft of theirs. They weren't just, sometimes you see game dev interviews and they're almost kind of separate from what they're doing, as these guys really were. It was their passion.
Yeah.
they really loved it.
Wholesome.
So it was just really, really nice. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Best weekend of my life.
That's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the year. So we're really, really sorry, but that's going to be our existence now.
Everything will be compared to that, and
honestly, I think so many conventions and events in general should take a lot from what we experienced at FanFest, because I couldn't fault a single thing in it. It was amazing, start to finish. Everything was just perfect, and more events need to have the kind of routine and structure that they did, because it was amazing.
So organised.
Yeah, really, really good.
Happy days. And with that, I think we're good.
Yeah,
We'll catch you in 2 weeks' time for another update.
Yeah.
We'll put through all of our new plans and ideas.
Yeah, we've definitely got a lot to be getting on with.
It's going to be a busy week, so we'll let you know how it goes in 2 weeks.
Yes.
So, if you have any questions, tips or tricks, please leave us a comment on the YouTube channel. That'd be lovely. And we'll get working on that custom email, just so you can drop us any direct comments there if you are just listening through the podcast.
Sounds good. Ideal.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later.